Okay, welcome to my game. I've been working on for level design and scripting DS205 at Abertay University. I've had to add this to make sure that the players understood what the goal of the game was. And there you go. Nothing much else but the flower spawning eggs. Tried to make it clear that there were two flowers there so that the player could continue interacting with them and learn by repetition. And the eggs wait for a while so that you have time to realize, oh, I first have to interact with more flowers. They don't last long because I had to change based on feedback, because the eggs waited way too long and the players didn't see them getting painted later on. First pickup that the player can find. If they don't find it the first time, it doesn't matter because they could still find it on a later iteration when they come back to turn on the flowers again when the egg stops spawning. This passage was purposefully placed out of sight and made less interesting from this point of view, but still with something pointing at it, to try to get the players going through the main route and not the shortcut, but to still have it there for later use. And here I placed both the flowers in the light to try to contrast with the shadows around it. Now let's continue. Here we can see the garden in front of us. There is a detail here to catch the player's attention. Few decoration, and then we have the views on the right, and if we see down there, we'll see that there is an egg that we can also pick up. And then if we go down the, oh, I forgot to mention, I tried to use here the light and the shadow of the mountain to try to draw, okay, glitch with the eggs, sorry, to try to draw the player's attention to the bridge with the light pointing directly at it. And here the intention is to have the three paths, and then the player would at some point while traversing, because there are so many of them, like put the mouse on top of it and realize that not only the red flowers can be interacted with but the others too, and we can see that they change the color of the eggs that pass through them. And when I click on one pink, all the pinks get activated, same with the yellows and the blues. And then just in case, oh, I forgot. Here we also can see the top on the behind of the mountain. If the player looks up, they can also get a glimpse of another pickup, and they can see that they could go on top of the mountain if needed. And then if the player hasn't encountered the pickups yet, because they might miss it, here is the first one that they probably would not miss because it's in the middle of the place. And the first time they pick up an egg, the counter appears telling them how many there are in total. Here we can see the first true open views, the level. We can see the eggs going further down the path. We can see that here there is also forest with a path going up, and then here there is the path that goes up on this side that might draw the player's attention. If not, that's fine, I'm just going to go here first, but if they don't go, it's fine because they can just continue with the egg progression. This is just to reward them. If they do have the curiosity to explore, we reward them with something. Oh, first there is a change of music here from lower part to the top parts. The top parts has a more calming music to try to compensate that the usual feeling of fear from heights, to kind of drive the message that these areas are not dangerous, that it's not danger to fall or anything. So we have like the calming music that comes in the background. And then we can of course see the rest of the level on this side. We can also see the level on this side. And then if the player decides to go up, you reward them with first a pickup and then a nice vista of the level. This serves as both a reward for exploration and curiosity, but also to help the player make have a map in their mind of the level, because they can clearly see where every part of the level comes together and have a better picture in their head. And there is a small glimpse both of the path that the player could take and the final part of the level, but it's not shown completely to capture that wow moment that I wanted to showcase. We can see the rest of the level. Here there is the other passage that we can use. And because now eggs are not spawning, we could continue on that area and then realize, oh, no eggs are spawning. But to spare you some time, I'm just going to quickly go and spawn them again. And just follow them further down the path. That egg is waiting because until there are 10 eggs in this waiting area, the eggs don't go further. So basically it's a way to have the eggs group a bit more. And also at the beginning, as I said, to get the player to wait a bit before he immediately continues following the eggs. There you go, eggs spawning again. So now we're going to follow them, to paint them with the lines too, because we haven't done that yet. The interesting thing here is that when the player starts getting used to the level, they can also use shortcuts to not have to do the long way. So for example here, instead of going the long way through there, the player could decide to go that through the river and make a shortcut. But for now I'm going to show the normal path because we haven't done that completely yet. There we go. So we can go down this hill. And here we can activate these flowers to start painting lines on the eggs. They will not paint eggs from the same color, so this one will paint blue lines, but they won't paint the blue eggs, and this one will paint pink lines, but not on the pink eggs. And so basically the eggs continue going through, pass on the bridge. Here we can see the entrance to the high level. We can go back to the spawn, there is a shortcut there, and here we have some more, because some of the eggs don't get painted in the first area like that one and that one. So here usually most of them get painted, those who have been missed get painted with these flowers here. And then here we have the tunnel that I made sure to put some variety so it's not just the same and it's easy to know in what direction you are traversing. And one of the totems hides the pickup. And there is interesting thing here is that the points are going up because our eggs are painted and not despawning there at the door. So we go all the way down and go up the door. The objective here was original to have an interactable that the player can interact with and change the door the eggs are going through, because each door was supposed to represent a continent that the Easter eggs are going to for Easter Day, basically, to get hidden and found by the kids. But basically they go all the way to the door and then they despawn. They despawn a bit sooner right now, and there we go. We got to 1,500 points, which is both with the DX colored and with the pickups, because the pickups give 100 each. The number of course is a bit arbitrary because not everything was working. I wasn't able to implement everything that I wanted. So for example, I wanted to have each one a continent that the player can switch where the eggs go from, and then have goals and objectives that tell you, oh, we need 5 pink eggs on the door towards Australia, for example. And this area was made big on purpose to try to get that whoa moment when the player arrives here for the first time. So the view would come from a very enclosed space to a very open space. And I also wanted that fog to create a mystical, magical kind of feeling. And also the light was used here because if the player decides to go down, which was originally the goal, because you would have some icons on the door with the different continents, they would realize that like the magic kind of stops to some extent here. The rest of the level is kind of magical, and here it's the end of the road, so to speak, the end of the magic. The eggs disappear. We have another pickup. And there we have the road that we could see from the top. So I'm going to showcase, so from the top we could see that path going up. So the player can decide to go up this path there or on the stairs. So if they decide to go here, they can see the stairs that go on the stairs, or just ignore it. And if not, they can still come this way and go up. But if they realize there is there an egg that can be seen from upstairs. And it can be picked up for more points. And I missed that jump. My movement should be a tiny bit more fluid and more stoppable on the go, but because I programmed everything myself, there is kind of a moment where if you click something before you want it to, like the jump for example, if you move and then jump, it jumps automatically when you land, even if you've decided, oh, I don't want to do that anymore, because it kind of cues the command. And here we have another egg. And then here is one of the examples of what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that all the narrow passages were clear what direction you were going, so that the player never gets lost. So for example, we can see here that we see very little on the tree, and there we can see the high landmark that we used and we went on top at the beginning. So we can see that nearly at every point you see something interesting to go towards. Here we arrive to the forest again, and we are back to the same area. And here the forest has two clear paths, one that goes back to the tunnel, one that goes back to the river and the flowers. And then there we can see an egg, and before, when we passed, I kind of ignored the pickups to showcase the end of the level. Basically there was one egg there that we can see at any point coming back from there, or going back from the level, from previous areas of the level, or just even looking at the eggs when they're coming down. There is one there that can be seen as soon as you cross this area, to just see it on the right, on the left side of your screen. It's hidden to some extent that you can still see it, but you have to kind of look a bit in that direction, and the totems are there to catch the attention to some extent. And then there is another one there that is kind of, it was more difficult to find before, it was on the top of the mountain, but I decided to just make it easier, both this one and that one, that they can be seen from downstairs, and kind of make a small goal for the player to achieve and reach. And we are only missing one egg. And I'm also going to showcase the shortcut to the spawn area. There we go, same here, and same with the tunnels, but I just didn't explain it during the video. I explained it in the document, but basically we also have here different things to view as objective when you're moving, so you can see that you're going to different directions. Here you very quickly see the flower, while here you very quickly see like the high mountains, and then later on the lake. and also like the curve is also used for the same intention. If the curve is clear, in this case it goes like a reverse C to some extent, you always know in what direction you're going due to the curve too. And this was there from the beginning to kind of, once you know the shortcut is there, you can use this as the landmark and a pointer toward the exit. And there, as I said at the beginning, was an explanation I had to add because of based on feedback. I wanted to have this being explained completely by gameplay, but it was clear that because some interactions the player might have were not happening at the same time as the egg passing, mostly the two paint areas. If the player interacts with the flowers when the eggs are not passing through, they don't realize that they're painting, and so they don't understand what the flowers do at all. They just seem to move through the breeze. I think that might be because this is a flower spawning eggs, and these are two flowers painting. So for the future I might consider changing the spawn, which was originally the idea was to have different flowers painting and spawning eggs, or even different objects completely, like having here instead of a flower having, I don't know, a totem. There we go, so that's basically my level. I think I showcased most of it. I'm going to showcase here how you can just use the river. If you want to just shortcut through the level, you can just use the river to go towards the areas that you want to go. And that's it. And the last thing that I forgot to show is the menu. And it's basically, if you click escape, you have this. You have here all the controls. So WASD movement, the mouse is just to move the camera, space to jump, to have a kind of a higher jump than the normal movement, because the movement is constant hopping to represent the rabbit. And then with left click you can interact when the green circle appears or the pink egg appears, because the eggs are a pickup, the green circle is interaction. Right click can change the speed, so from this speed to this speed, it's basically a change of speed. And then hold shift can make you move even slower if you need even more control. So for example, if we are moving like this and we want even more control, holding shift makes us move even slower. This can help when you want to interact with something and you can't control completely your jump. But even when doing the long jumps, you can also hold shift to go slower. You don't go as slow as the opposite, you just reduce your speed by 1. And that's it. Here you have my name, the UI element with the points, and this that appears when you have 1500, arbitrary number, because for testing purposes it was just above the 1200 that you could get with the pickups, because I wanted the player to at least interact with the eggs and the coloring of the eggs in some shape or form. And apart from that, the save game and the main menu are not implemented yet because I didn't have time to do so. Resume to continue the game, and quit game to close. Thank you very much and have a good day.